Okay, so imagine, right, like imagine having Morgan Freeman like narrate your to-do list
Oh, wow.
or or Arnold Schwarzenegger getting you pumped for your Monday morning meeting. And that's kind of the power that we're diving into today. AI voices
Yeah.
that are so realistic that they could fool anyone.
Yeah.
And you've been curious about 11 Labs, and from the stack of YouTube tutorials you sent over, it seems like creators are already doing some pretty wild things with it.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
get ready to unlock the secrets of crafting incredible AI audio, whether you're dreaming of professional projects, personal fun, or just, want to impress your friends.
You know what's really captured my attention is how quickly we've gone from those robotic, monotone AI voices to something that captures the subtleties of human speech,
Yeah.
the emotion, the pauses, even the little twerks.
Right, and 11 Labs has this huge library of voices.
It really does.
I actually stumbled across a super calming voice on TikTok the other day
Oh, yeah.
and thought, "No way that's AI." And turns out it was an 11 Labs creation.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, I actually have a clip here from one of the more unusual voices that I came across in the research.
oh, let's hear it.
Right?
Whoa.
Pretty wild, right?
That's incredible, but okay, let's back up for a second.
Okay.
For anyone just getting started, how important is choosing the right voice for a project?
Oh, it's absolutely fundamental.
Okay.
It sets the tone. It needs to match your content. And thankfully, ElevenLabs has made it, pretty user-friendly.
Okay.
They've categorized their voices by accent style, like a whisper or a more traditional broadcasting tone,
Mhm.
and even by recommended use cases like narration or ASMR.
So you're not just scrolling through hundreds of voices hoping to strike gold. You're actually being guided towards options that make sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about it. A cooling style would probably be perfect for creating immersive ASMR content, while a well-rounded tone is more likely what you'd want for traditional audiobook narration.
Okay, that makes sense. And when you found your ideal voice, what's the next step?
Uh,
Tutorials mention something about pauses being crucial.
yes, they're like the punctuation of your audio.
Okay.
They give the AI room to breathe.
Yeah.
They create a more natural flow,
Right.
and they can completely change the way a sentence is interpreted.
Interesting.
One creator even compared it to, conducting an orchestra. You're shaping the performance with those strategic silences.
So how do you actually control those pauses within 11 Labs?
Well, there are a few different techniques.
Okay.
You can use dashes or ellipses, which are pretty intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
But for really fine-tuned control, you'll want to get familiar with the break time code.
Okay.
Imagine you want a pause of exactly 1.5 seconds.
Okay.
You just insert that break time code directly into your text, and ElevenLabs will do the rest.
It's like having a secret code to unlock these perfectly timed pauses.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And it gives you a level of consistency that's really hard to achieve with just dashes or ellipses, especially if you're working on a longer piece of audio.
This brings up a question I had while watching one of the tutorials. The creator was talking about how some voices are better suited for certain techniques than others. Is there anything to that?
Absolutely, each voice on ElevenLabs is trained on a specific data set,
Okay.
which means they have different strengths and limitations.
Right.
A voice that's fantastic for conversational dialogue might sound completely unnatural when you try to make it sing, for example.
So it's not just about finding a voice you like, it's about understanding its capabilities.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
It's almost like each AI voice has its own personality,
Mm-hmm.
its own range of emotions that it can convey convincingly.
Okay, so how do you tap into those emotions?
Uh,
The tutorials were full of these kind of hacks for making AI voices sound more human-like.
Right.
Like one creator suggested writing in all caps for emphasis. Is that really a thing?
it can actually be surprisingly effective.
Really?
It's almost like you're shouting at the AI.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it picks up all that intensity and adjusts its delivery accordingly.
Huh.
What's really fascinating is that ElevenLabs AI is designed to be context aware.
Okay.
So it's not just reading words in isolation. It's trying to understand the meaning behind those words.
So it's like if I were to read a sentence in a book,
Uh-huh.
I would naturally adjust my tone and emphasis based on the context of the scene and the emotions of the characters, and the AI is attempting to do the same thing.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
And the creators you mentioned have discovered all sorts of clever ways to manipulate that context.
Okay.
For example, instead of just writing, he said they might write, he growled angrily,
Yeah.
giving the AI a much stronger emotional cue.
That's wild. I was reading about this trick where you move your mouse or your fingers while you're listening to the AI voice, and it can actually impact the way the AI speaks.
Right?
It sounds a little out there, but people swear by it.
It might sound strange, but there's actually a logical explanation for it.
Okay.
When we speak naturally, our physical movements and gestures often often reflect our emotional state.
Hmm.
By moving your mouth or fingers while listening, you're subconsciously conveying those subtle cues to the AI,
Yeah.
and it can sometimes pick up on them and adjust its delivery.
It's almost like you're puppeteering the AI with your movements.
That's a great analogy,
Wow.
and it highlights the fact that we're still figuring out all the ways we can interact with and influence these AI voices.
Yeah.
There's a lot of experimentation and discovery happening right now, which is what makes this technology so exciting.
This is already blowing my mind, and we haven't even gotten to the really advanced stuff yet, like voice cloning and dubbing. But we'll save that for later.
Go for it.
First, let's dive into some of the more technical setting that can help you really fine-tune your AI audio and make it sound as realistic as possible.
Yes. Let's talk about the stability and similarity sliders.
Uh-huh.
These are where you can really start to unlock the full potential of ElevenLabs.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me everything.
So the stability and similarity sliders, they're kind of like the spice rack in your audio kitchen.
Okay.
They let you add those subtle flavors that make your AI voices truly pop.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this spice rack.
So the stability slider, it controls how consistent the AI's voice is.
Okay.
Think of it like this. High stability is like a seasoned broadcaster.
Right.
Their voice is smooth, predictable, perfect for long stretches of audio.
Yeah.
But but maybe you want something a little more dynamic.
Yeah, like a character with a bit more edge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where you start playing with lower stability settings.
Mm-hmm.
You might get a little more variation in their delivery.
Okay.
Maybe you have some quirks that make them sound more human.
Yeah.
One creator found that if you push the stability too low, you end up with a voice that sounds almost chaotic, like they're on the verge of a breakdown.
That's hilarious. I'd love to hear that.
Maybe we can experiment with that later. But for now, let's move on to the similarity slider,
Okay.
which is particularly important for voice cloning.
Okay.
This slider dictates how closely the AI sticks to the source voice you've provided.
So if I wanted to create a voice that sounds exactly like me, I'd crank the similarity slider way up.
Precisely.
Okay.
High similarity means you're going for a near perfect replication.
Right.
But what if you wanted to get creative? Let's say you want a voice that's a blend of your voice and I don't know, the soothing tones of David Attenborough.
Oh, wow.
You could play with the similarity slider to find that unique sweet spot.
That opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah.
It's not just cloning, it's like creating entirely new vocal identities.
It's like genetic engineering for voices.
Hmm.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, you mentioned voice cloning and dubbing earlier.
Yeah.
These are some of the most talked about features in the tutorials you shared.
Yeah, one creator was using ElevenLabs to dub an old movie trailer into different languages.
Oh wow.
It was mind-blowing how the AI was able to capture the emotion and timing of the original actor's performance, even in a language the actor didn't speak.
That's the power of speech-to-speech technology.
Yeah.
It's not just converting text to speech anymore. It's capturing the essence of a voice and applying it to completely new contexts.
Hmm.
And it goes way beyond entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
Think about the accessibility implications.
Yeah.
Making information available to people who might not otherwise have access to it because of language barriers.
The tutorials also highlighted some technical tips for getting the best results with voice cloning.
Right?
One creator was adamant about using high-quality audio, even more so than a long recording.
They're absolutely right. When you're training an AI model, you want to give it the cleanest data possible.
Okay.
Think of it like this. If you're trying to teach someone to imitate your handwriting,
Mm-hmm.
you'd give them a sample that's clear and easy to read, not something scribbled on a napkin.
Yeah.
Right.
So a clean recording around 1 to 2 minutes long is the sweet spot for voice cloning.
Exactly. Minimize background noise, avoid any echo or reverb,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure you're speaking clearly and at a consistent volume.
Right.
Those small details can make a huge difference in the final output.
We've covered so much ground already, choosing the right voice, mastering pauses, infusing emotion,
Yeah.
even exploring advanced features like voice cloning and dubbing.
It's a lot.
What are some of the key takeaways you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that this technology is incredibly accessible and user-friendly.
Right.
Don't be intimidated.
Yeah.
The creators we've been discussing are proof that you don't need to be a tech wizard to create amazing things with ElevenLabs.
Absolutely. There's a real sense of playfulness and experimentation in the tutorials.
Yeah.
These creators are constantly pushing the boundaries, discovering new techniques,
Hmm.
and sharing their knowledge with the community.
And that's what makes it so exciting. We're all still learning and discovering the potential of AI voices.
Yeah.
What we see today is just a glimpse of what's to come. Who knows what incredible advancements are just around the corner.
This whole deep dive has me thinking,
Mm.
what are some of the potential ethical considerations as this technology continues to evolve? I
Yeah.
mean, imagine a world where we can create incredibly realistic AI voices that are virtually indistinguishable from human voices. Yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It is.
On the one hand, we have this incredible potential for creativity,
Yep.
accessibility, connection, but there's also the potential for misuse.
That's exactly the conversation we need to be having as AI voices become more sophisticated.
Right.
We have to think about the implications for things like misinformation
Yeah.
and impersonation.
One of the creators mentioned that ElevenLabs already has some safeguards in place, like watermarking their generated audio. Are those measures enough?
They're definitely a step in the right direction.
Okay.
It's encouraging to see companies taking proactive measures to prevent misuse,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an ongoing challenge. And as the technology advances,
Yeah.
those safeguards will need to evolve as well.
It makes you wonder what does the future hold for AI voices?
Right.
Will there be a point where we can't tell the difference between a real human voice and a synthetic one?
It's certainly within the realm of
Yeah.
possibility. And that raises a whole host of philosophical questions about authenticity
Right.
and what it means to be human.
It's like we're on the cusp of this next technological revolution and we're just starting to grapple with the implications.
Exactly. And it's not just about the technology itself, but about how we choose to use it.
Right.
Will we use it to connect with people,
Yeah.
to break down barriers, to create new forms of art and expression?
Yeah.
Or will we use it to deceive, manipulate, and erode trust?
Those are some heavy questions.
That are.
But they're questions we need to be asking.
Absolutely.
So for anyone listening who's ready to dive into the world of ElevenLabs and AI voices, what's the one message you want them to take away from this deep dive?
Embrace the possibilities, but proceed with awareness.
Okay.
This technology is incredibly powerful, and it's up to us to use it responsibly
Right.
and ethically as
Right.
as you experiment and explore.
Mm-hmm.
Always remember that the choices we make today
Yeah.
will shape the future of this technology and its impact on our world.
That's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating and at times mind-boggling world of ElevenLabs and AI voices.
My pleasure.
It's a world full of potential and we can't wait to see what you create.